Game 2 on the cards here, and it's best of 3. Newbee.M taking on VG Gaming Thunder, where Thunder have a 1-0 lead, defeating the Tinker first phase pick of Newbee.M, but they've done it again. Coming straight out with a Clockwork Shadow Fiend combo for Thunder, but this time Newbee.M have a Night Stalker on their side. Maybe that will be the difference maker here.
For the first time in history of Dota, as far as these Chinese Genting qualifiers are concerned, it certainly feels like that. The Clockwork is actually not banned out in first phase, so VGJ Thunder immediately jump on that with that combo. And with that, you also have a pre-made counter to the Tinker, right? You have that catch potential with that hook shot, and then that's more often than not, that's all you need to get these kills early on with the Battery Assault, just to making sure the Tinker cannot really do a whole lot when it comes to blinking out or trying to TP away. But yeah, as I said, the Night Stalker, at the very least you're going to have the vision advantage from that to try and help you out against these types of plays later down the line if he ends up going back towards that Agnum Scepter build-up as well. But it's still questionable, right? Tinker being picked up this early.
Yes, very questionable.
Yeah.
It didn't look too bad in Game 1. I think the problems pretty heavily were that Void needed to land big chronos. It was the draft around the Tinker didn't really work out particularly well, while VGJ, hit their timings. They got all of their smokes working out, and that Night Stalker, even though he had a rough laning stage, got himself Ags, Gem, Spirit Vessel to hunt and find the kills that they needed. Still
Dire team ban.
Gonna have to be another draft around the Tinker. See what they decide to do this time around, as VGJ, like you said, with the SF clock, will have the extra souls in the laning stage. They've got that catch. Now banning out the Void, even if it didn't do particularly well in Game 1. Still, the threat was there for that one big chrono to just win the game with the help of the Tinker Ags. So they'll remove the Beastmaster instead. And now, Newbee.M, what is your plan? Do you go for the Ancient Apparition again? Could pair up nicely here. You've got that global threat, the big kill power we saw in the latter stages of the game, where VGJ did dive a little bit too deep once or twice, and we had the laser Ice Blast combos really come out and do a lot of damage.
5 seconds remaining.
But equally, you could look for some kind of saving mechanism. Look towards maybe an SD Luna combo, get that tower pushing, that frontliner, get the illusions going, but also save power up against this Clockwork Shadow Fiend. But more likely than not, you're aiming for some 4 staff carriers as your basic go-to picks.
Yeah, there's quite a few options open for them, and they're certainly taking their time to think about it.
Dire team
And they're gonna settle for the Lycan, actually. So they don't just want to rely on a Tinker push and split push. They just want to have some building hitters themselves. And again, it's also here that the Clockwork technically is not the worst against. Like if you manage to catch him inside the cogs, you can slow him down a little bit. And there's a Witch Doctor. All right. Pretty potent combination as well if the Clockwork is in 4 position. If they ever end up together in a lane, you can, again, so the extra bit of damage with the Battery Assault running somebody down on top of the Maledict, potentially getting some easy kills.
10 seconds remaining.
Thunder with a very solid lineup, a very solid draft with Newbee.M. Again, just ticking a few boxes, but it doesn't necessarily mean that those kind of strats are associated with that are easy to execute. Because I don't really see the synergies between Lycan and Tinker throughout the game, really.
Well, you have the Wolves to TP to as Tinker, so you've got that easy access to areas of the map you wouldn't normally have. The Lycan is that kind of frontline pusher, groups up with the rest of his team, shoves towers. So you have the kind of overarching synergy game plan-wise, but there isn't the hero-to-hero interplay between the two of them. A Bane now for Newbee.M.
Radiant team back.
This is an interesting draft. VGJ back with a Bat Rider, so even more catch for the Tinker. Very good against the Lycan with that lasso, not really caring about shapeshift. And Witch Doctor is a super good hero against heroes that like to dive early. Night Stalker, tanky, nighttime, likes to dive. Lycan loves to dive. They've got that Howl during the nighttime as well, but Cask always provides a nice little counter to those diving heroes. As we get into final bans, 1 roll for VGJ and potential 3 or 4 for Newbee.M as we get into the latter stages of these picks.
Dire team ban.
Last band Lifestealer wouldn't be the worst of choices here. Well, I have some mobility from the catch from the Clockwork and the Batrider, but still plenty of options for Thunder here to pick up some more physical damage, I guess. And Shadow Fiend already provides a little bit of that.
10
On
seconds
top of the
remaining.
magical damage. So if you want to go for another hybrid hero like that, Luna is also still on the
5
field.
seconds remaining.
Gyro.
Yeah, Gyro would be amazing. Yeah, just something with wave clear of some sort to help out against the Lycan summon base push. And something that just provides and just that can help fight with the team and follow up these kind of initiations that you will end up having with the Batrider in particular.
What's a Sylar hero, though? That's always the question.
Because Lone Druid is always there, right?
Hmm.
The old school.
I was wondering,
Didn't he
because
play
like
that?
Gyro against Lycan, you have that weird back and forth between the two, where Lycan closes the gap and runs the Gyro down.
Dire team pick.
Gyrocopter, even with Flak and cooldown, sure he can clear some of the summons and Helm of the Dominator and Necro books, but it's never enough until you get that BKB. Often considered, Necro book to be the counter to Gyro until the BKB arrives. It used to be the counter even
10 seconds
once he had
remaining.
BKB when it pierced the immunity. That was always super
Radiant
sick.
team pick.
VGJ come out with a tiny. Okay. Lots of nuke damage and follow through for the Clockwork and Bat. Easily kiteable though potentially here as the final pick is a Legion from Newbee.M. Very,
Huh.
very interesting draft from them.
Not the pick that I necessarily saw coming, but not the worst either. It kind of even gives you the ability to do cheeky things with the toss, like tossing in the Batrider or even the Clockwork early on into some of these heroes to act as a pseudo Blink Dagger, essentially. But the LC, pretty strong, especially up against the Batrider and being able to dispel the lasso from the first attack, super important. And then having that catch that's hard lockdown up against someone like Shadow Fiend who wants to be mobile enough in these fights to dodge out some of that damage.
Early laning stage is super important though. Securing Legion and Tinker, good laning stage. The Night Stalker and Bane are going to have to be on the top of their game as they move around these lanes. While Thunder, they've got the Clockwork and Shadow Fiend eating up the souls. Yum, yum, yum. Start off with 3. You can get 4 per go if you get like Gloves of Haste on someone with a good attack animation, if you time it perfectly for one projectile to land just before the Shadow Fiend one to land. It's like right now the Shadow Fiend's attacking a little bit later than maybe he could do, but they'll get a decent amount of souls at the very least. Now usually what we see against this is the little camp up here. Radiant, very often, run up, smoke, camp here, kill the SF, guard this bounty rune, remove souls, get bounties, easy game. Not doing it this time around though.
Yep. So Shadow Fiend most likely will be able to enjoy the full benefit of that. They'll do another round on the way. They'll bring him up to 12, which is completely
30
serviceable.
seconds to battle.
Unless they want to even do another one. If they really want to, they can pull that off as well. You have the rune spot. But yeah, Witch Doctor going a separate way. It's not really necessary at that point, especially if you do survive that initial onslaught.
Wait, why does Bat have a deny?
He got one of the cogs.
Okay.
In
Okay.
the first round for some reason.
Sure.
I guess he just
Okay.
wanted to have a CS.
I'm looking at this like, okay, I saw Clockwork deny a cog. I know Shadow Fiend should have 12 denies. He has 12 souls. He's killed 12 cogs. But Batrider, what's going? He just wanted to be part of the cool crew, you know.
I'm helping, guys. I'm helping, I swear.
So SF mid, nice.
Yeah.
Gets an extra soul as well. Up to 13 now as Clockwork blocks the wave. And this is going to be an interesting lane. Night Stalker against Clock, Tinker against SF. Courier coming in with even more regen there. Tangos for the Shadow Fiend. As Clockwork pushes the Night Stalker, traps the Tinker. Courier comes in, delivers a salve to the little man in the machine suit. Let's have a look at these other lanes though. Bane and Lycan against the Batrider down at bottom. A little bit of trading back there, harass in onto the Batrider, but 5 stacks of napalm does mean the Bane will take a bit of a punishing. back as well. And top lane Legion against the Witch Doctor and the Tiny. Maledicts should come out at level 2. Force this Legion into some tough situations. But it's still just this middle lane. Permanent cog spam back. The Clockwork making life a living hell here for the Tinker and Night Stalker.
Playing extremely well. I mean, starting with the simple things, with the cog strike, just getting the souls up, and then doing slightly more advanced things, blocking up the creep wave on the tower, making sure that you have that equilibrium to then just getting the push back on the Tinker. Giving over a few CS here and there, but each of these cogs only worth like 15 gold. So it's not the end of the world.
SF 18 souls now. 19, 17 denies, but Night Stalker trapped in the cogs with another pushback, another raise here. The long range one's ready and they'll get the kill. SF, do they have? No, level 1 still. The Tinker's still level 1. He's got no laser. He's got a Fairy Fire to pop, but the cogs trap him inside. The Clockwork's got him. Do they have another raise? They do. One push and no, they miss out, but they still get the kill. The Clockwork gets the final touch of damage as Night Stalker unable to secure anything in return. Disaster strikes.
Like, the old patch, you would have ran straight towards the shrine and healed up now with both of these heroes as it stands. The very least, Shadow Fiend has played a little bit more defensively here for a while until it gets some regen ferried out. Bane though, look at him, he has a haste rune. He wants to get this kill and he will get it. Alright.
Cool.
Yeah, this is Ice Rock just saying, hey, yeah, you get free kill. There you go, have a haste rune.
I thought he was going to be bottom killing someone, but yeah, that run in towards mid. Courier has to go all the way back to base. And now SF has an extra mango, as he wanted to kind of regen all the way back up to full immediately. Throws out a single raise. Clockwork arrives back in this lane. But you look at Tiny, 18 and 7 in this top lane. They've moved the Night Stalker here to try and remedy some of this damage being done by the Witch Doctor Tiny, but Witch Doctor's rotated bottom. Give Batrider a bit of an easier time down here and pressure back the Bane, who's been doing such an exceptional job at forcing Bat away, but also keeping this Lycan in fighting shape.
Yeah.
Tiny top lane, 1v2ing, no problem. Night Stalker shoved away with just an avalanche and a couple of tree grab punches.
It's Bane only now getting his stick delivered, so up till this point Batrider was able to just offer a lot of threat potential, just with a napalm spam. At the same time, Lycan, of course, already with the completed magic wand. It's a little bit more questionable whether we actually want to do that and keep spamming it out.
Cast through wolves.
Yeah.
Easy pickings.
Well, the Warlord should happen there. At the same time in mid though, it's about to hit nighttime. Night Stalker's hiding just outside of vision here in his middle lane. Shadow Fiend.
Oh, the race to the rune. It's Oof. A DD. Oh, Night Stalker gets it though. They don't really have too much from the Tinker, so potentially with the wand, the salve, the Clockwork, the cast bouncing back. Tinker caught with the Night Stalker as well, but a great silence will slow the Clockwork's advance. And Hunter in the Night gets him over the cliff tops. The Clockwork's still chasing here, slowed by the Void again. Still aiming for those cogs to trap someone in.
If you've gotten any spell out there, maybe one of these heroes loses their lives, but as it stands, at the very least keep the Shadow Fiend safe. He was in a very compromised position inside the River of Death here with the DD rune Night Stalker running him down. But just make it out alive, so it's all is well, it ends well, I guess. Oh, Bane up in the bottom lane. Be a bit careful, throws down a Nightmare just to keep the Batrider away. Immediately taken off by Witch Doctor, but unable to turn this into anything more.
SF regains all of the souls he had lost. Raindrops and round boots available to him. There's still this Sylar Tiny farming away top lane. Legion has found a bit of space to get some CS of her own. Hitting level 5 in a second. Mid lane, have they gone in? Night Stalker wants to battle SF. The turnaround from the Clockwork. Cogs on cooldown for another couple of seconds. The Nightmare's there, and Witch Doctor, oh, he's come in at the right time. The cast, the Maledict. There's the laser, finishing the SF, but they should be able to find the trade back onto the Night Stalker with a few more punches. The Maledict, is it going to pop him? Oh god, he's surviving. Stick charges and a raindrop. The Night Stalker gets away. 20 HP with the help of the Tango regen as well.
So close. Everything. Tango, Howl, Stick, and the raindrops, all of them working together. Else he would have been dead for sure if one of these wasn't missing. But hey, good kill again, just trying to keep the Shadow Fiend down and Also trying to keep these souls in check now, back to 13, but still be able to fuel those up rather quickly now with the help of the raises if nothing else. And Clockwork, well, he'll have to give up that Arcane Rune. It's gonna be a bit annoying too. Yeah, Tinker once again, he's probably not under as much pressure as they maybe could have or should have put him under. Still, not a crazy amount of last hits, but only one death and also a kill and assist on his belt.
They need to start thinking about stacking for him, though.
Yeah.
Get some jungle camps built up for the March spam. Lycan bottom, though, is the fear I have right now. He's being pressured really hard by the Switch Doctor Bat, while the rest of the Radiant team are focusing heavily on the mid lane. So Lycan, you know, he's off lane, basically, not farming freely. This gives Batrider time to push closer into that Blink Dagger. Well, top lane, TP's coming in. Newbee.M looking to play aggressively onto Sylar now, the most farmed hero on the map at this point. But he has 7-1 charges and potential to switch to Strength Treads. He sees the Night Stalker. In comes the Bane, but they don't have the control to actually stop him from just walking away. Forcing some TPs in, though, at the very least.
That vision there, they could have potentially gone for this toss play. Tossing Clockwork in for cogs, but well, it is nighttime still, of course, so don't have that luxury unless you have wards in that general area. If they did, they would have been rewarded. So
Radiant's
all still good for the Radiant side, so they just end up with a bit of a race to rotation unless they can go back in again and make something happen here. Legion Commander actually with a duel, not show up this one. It's not going to lead to a victory here either way, but Tiny still dropping lower and lower. Legion Commander with movement speed has to get the hell out of there though. To sleep.
He has Avalanche
expiring
again.
Now. Yeah, he can turn this around. He's going to have to here. The last Ragtag's coming through. Punch back on one, or push back on one. Bane eating his way through the cogs, so this Gambit working out, but only just.
They get the kill on Lycan bottom lane, so 1-for-1 trade across the map for the one-roll heroes. But Tiny there, I don't think he should have died, honestly. The Avalanche came up, and maybe if he'd thrown it a second earlier, he would have been able to get enough of a gap, get some one charges off. But playing it very, very tight, maybe hoping for a TP from one of his teammates. But SF unavailable, and of course, Witch Doctor Bat both playing that aggressive play into the Lycan bottom meant they were not ready to make the move, as a move is being made by Newbee.M again into the mid lane. Raindrop there, going to be enough to keep the SF out of harm's reach from the overwhelming odds, and the TPs en masse coming through. Raze misses, the March laid down. Shadow Fiend walking straight through it.
Yeah, again looking for a duel, but Shadow Fiend, like either you already have a Blink Dagger or you just try and wait for the mid hero to step inside the river. None of that really happens, so he's able to walk away in time.
Still very close between these two teams. Only a 1k lead for VGJ. Avalanche up at top, but Phase Boots on the Legion means that she can create enough of a gap away from Sylar, forced to throw that tree into her.
One fully complete farming build, right? With a tree grab max rather than the Avalanche, which we often see these days. To have that extra bit of burst to work with. But that does mean that you should be able to clean through these kind of situations very easily. Creating a creep wave, resetting the aggro, doing a bit of damage to the tower, or at least at the very least forcing Legion Commander to go in heavily, but more importantly, grabbing that stack as well as the creep wave. Very, very quickly indeed.
Yeah, tons of money go his way. Straight into the Yasha, it looks like, from Sylar. So no blink, moving likely straight into the S and Y. I don't know if Manta is good this game. I guess Tinker Laser, it seems okay. And that used to be one of the big builds on Tiny, was... I guess it was more the Tiny IO. Oh,
yep.
I heard a shapeshift. Oh, it's mid lane, hello.
It's,
Mod
running
Golem
in towards
has a stun. Cancel the TP and SF. See you, buddy. Give it to the Tinker. Oh, yes.
Not even right-clicking anything at this, in the end there. Meanwhile, put a Nightmare down bottom, just keep the Witch Doctor Batrider combo away, who is still providing a lot of pressure here in this bottom. Legion Commander taking over the lane now, is like joining the party. Almost got the interception there on the Batrider, but not quite low enough for the drums. Also tanking up and getting that extra bit of movement speed on demand. Overall though, still Tiny Despite that death, still very much at the top of the net worth chart, 5k in his pocket. And Shadow Fiend, again, despite all of these deaths on him, 3 on the scoreboard right now. He's still the second on the list here. Move out on bottom though, Bane caught by the Clockwork, Cast bouncing through as well as Lycan pops the Howl, trying to get his last extra right clicks in.
They missed the Maledict and they knew it was over. They just gave up on it.
Or did they? Batrider coming through. Does have the lasso available, throws it out in short range. Couple of raises here and there. The duel though, trying to turn this around, and oh, he does barely win it.
The rest of the team had focused that Legion a little bit harder, but they'll still find the Bane kill, the Death Ward out. They'll get a triple for Bat. Pushes him so close to the Blink on top of the Soul Ring drums already. Super farmed. Ah.
Clockwork dies to the Wolves and Mud Golem toss.
Whoops.
Ugh.
Oops. Double oops. Triple oops. Oh no, not this bug.
What are you doing?
Accidents are happening. Mistakes were made.
Value.
Press the wrong button.
Yeah, so it would have been quite nice for the Shadow Fiend, just having a bit of extra damage, but it's very bold play regardless, right?
Dire are scanning.
For the duel in the middle of all of these heroes.
Once the SF gets Yules though, he can look for solo kills on Tinker and Bane. Very easy to pick off with a big Requiem after Yules. Just needs to focus on farming jungle for a little bit right now as Tiny can start moving around with the rest of his team, pressuring towers.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Should have this Batrider with Drums, Soul Ring, Blink is going to be so difficult to handle. He'll have the initiation and the move speed and the levels, more importantly. He's level 9 already.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Incredibly strong. While Newbee.M wrapping in towards mid lane, they're hunting for this SF, but he's playing very, very timidly back in the jungle. While their Lycan and Legion both shoving up a top lane, looking for a Blink onto her as well. Desperately requiring that Blink dual initiation. But they've bought some time for Tinker. He's got his boost of travel, but in comes the hook shot, and Clockwork finds the opening they've been waiting for quite some time. The second death of the Tinker will arrive. A decent amount of expenditure there for them, but it's all well worth it.
What we were waiting for here, that's what we expected to happen throughout this entire game. Clockwork finding that hook shot onto the Tinker for some easy kills, and now, well, someone's gonna have to respond to top, but that's gonna be the Batrider, no problems whatsoever. So this tier 2 will be safe, a bit of damage onto the tier 1, but the backs are coming through the duel. Once again on Shadow Fiend, Maledict trying to turn us around, and this time again though, with the extra bit of nuke power from the Brain Sap, they will find another victory. And perhaps more Clockwork. Nightmare up. Fiend's not available here, but yeah, plenty of damage for the Tinker rejoining the party.
VGJ getting run over a little bit here. Lycan and Tinker getting in, but this Legion with these duels onto Shadow Fiend proving invaluable, even with that cast bouncing between them, cancelling the Fiend's grip. They had more than enough damage to finish the SF off. Batrider, Blink cancelled by this Urn, but Nightstalker still very far forward. With the Flame Break and the Maledict, they'll bring him down, even forcing the lasso, maybe unnecessary, but secures the kill regardless.
Once again, though, they do keep the tower alive, and it's one of these things that you sometimes look towards when you're trying to look at where a Lycan-based lineup is sitting. And they've only claimed that one tier on top, and there was a trade with the bottom tier 1 at the same time. So, okay, this is gonna stop though. This really has got to stop.
They didn't know about the Blink.
Yeah.
Can't be ready for that. The first couple of ones, they smoked, they ganked, they walked. But that one, the Blink, unexpected, as bottom hook shot misses. The TP from Tinker moving forward onto this Wild Wing, hunting, but a good Cogs pushed back. Means that Witch Doctor has a bit more room to maneuver, but Nightstalker's found him. They can chase him onto the clock. Oh, Clockwork's just going to walk straight on towards them. No stuns, really. The Wild Wing will offer a tornado to slow. The Void is there as well, but he's got Cogs to try and push them back, but Tinker with a double. Enabled by this Lycan. So very good at pushing forward aggressively.
Yeah. Seems to be working out quite well, at least when it comes to the kill scores, but then you look back at the net worth and you see, well, where's all of this advantage coming from? It's still on a Tiny, who's bound to get some sort of mobility item sooner rather than later. Tosses up the Nightmare Batrider closer, takes over the Nightmare, try and make sure that his friend can slow down the Bane, blink forward, and they're gonna get the kill with or without the lasso. Still on cooldown for another 5 seconds, so...
Another duel on the Legion, though. Kills off the Shadow Fiend. Tinker
Again.
enabled again by Wolves. Moving forward, SF, what's he at now? 173 from a pretty damn good early game. Has been shut down completely in this mid-game by this Radiant squad. And into Roshan they go.
16 minutes in, already plus 40 dual damage. It's really good Spanish run, really. Really good timing for this Legion commander going forward. And yeah, now this Roshan will certainly help as well. Nothing that Thunder can really do to cancel that out. It's contested. Oh, this is the timing. Strength of the Lycan.
Easy Roshan. Clockwork has his hook shot. VG Gaming just seem a little bit scared to go and play aggressively. They're not smoking, they're not making moves themselves. Newbee.M have been the ones that have been making all of the calls. These snap decisions to go in here, move on there. Finally, a catch from the Bat onto the Legion, who maybe could have blinked away from that when she saw them breaching this high ground. But she turns to fight, and she's maybe winning this one. No, the Firefly, the final hit from Bat will secure the kill. The Fiend's Grip cast and cancelled as the cask flies forward. The Witch Doctor gets the Maledict in on top of the Night Stalker, and with a Death Ward there, cancelled out in the end, but the pop of the damage will be enough as the Wolves come forward. No points in Buddha Restoration. Witch Doctor's going to fall to the little Wolvies, and now the chase forward. SF in battle. Batrider running and hunting, trying to get in on top of this Bane, but the Tinker's TP will slow them down and try and cancel this initiation from VGJ Thunder.
Very scrappy engagement there, just kind of started back here at the high ground at the Ancient Pit and then squiggled all the way across the entire Radiant side, it feels like.
Still feels like Tiny needs a Shadow Blade or a Blink, though.
Yeah.
Saving up a decent amount of money. Needs some way to get in on top of targets.
We'll expect that to be his next item. But, well, I have seen Tinies before just forgo and go straight into like AC. I really like this game. That is another Blink duel, very aggressively. Nightmare being traded out, and that's...
Oh, the Kobold Foreman! What? Or the Spearman, whatever it was, the stupid Kobold blocks the hook shot.
Oh no. Well, at least it was no dual victory for Batrider. That I think it must have expired just before somehow.
Oh yeah.
That was very odd. That is Blink Lasso now. Bane. Gonna be another casualty, so it's... Well...
There we go. VGJ there finally decide to start making the moves. They're the ones that get on top of targets, start killing them off. Show that Newbee.M aren't just the ones that can make these aggressive plays.
It was a bit of a gift though from Newbee.M, right? Just blinking in without vision super aggressively and then blinking into the entirety of Thunder. Basically gifting them the initiation from the Legion Commander and then having the next one with the Blink Lasso for the Bane. But it's certainly necessary to give them that extra bit of momentum, but also to slow down the Lycan as well as the Tinker even. Still not really surging ahead in terms of network.
Tinker forced to go 4-staff as well against Clockwork. Yeah. Not really where you want to be. You want that blink for the shift queuing, but 4-staff gets you out of cogs. That's what he's going to have to be doing here. Radiant scan over towards the Ancients as Tiny was farming away, but Batrider deep in this Radiant jungle gets a ward down. Also scouts out a couple of Newbee.M members moving around inside this Radiant jungle, but it's Witch Doctor who's been spotted, and it's Witch Doctor who is being hunted. Night Stalker not going to be able to get the catch just yet, and they found themselves in a position where they're being closed in on. Tiny and Bat smoking. It gets popped immediately. The Bane on the high ground sees them moving across, but the Bat wants to jump the Tinker. He's going to have his blink ready, and they jump forward. There's the Fiend's Grip, though, back onto him. Cancelled by the Avalanche. The duel comes through onto the Batrider as the Requiem. Oh, it's thrown in. The duel win onto the Batrider. That's what we've been looking for as the chase forward. Clockwork hookshot at the ready. Hunter the Knight. It's wasted. The hookshot misses, though. Lycan just walking around nearby. Pops his shapeshift. The cogs trap the Clockwork inside with the Wolves. But this looks fine for VGJ. The Tinker not able to get back into this battle just yet. He's regenerating back in the fountain. Now he'll look to arrive, but the avalanche catches him with the stun. Tinker has overplayed his hand. The damage, the laser, cancelled out there. The Tinker can get away a little bit further. The Shadow Fiend needs a razor, a hit, something, but he's away. The urn will tick, but it won't be able to kill as the Clockwork dies to the march.
What is happening here? Couple of separate fights, smoke popped, but immediately like you dispelled again. Batrider and find the lasso you just before the initial duel comes out, and winning the duel after the fact.
Tiny needs a BKB or a Manta or something. Still good catches by VGJ.
He's actually going for the AC. Not sure how I feel about that. But yeah, I mean, it has brought the gold back in line towards that 1K mark. It's never really been that big of an advantage for either team, I guess, for Thunder, as it's never really been in favor of Newbee.M this game at all. Experience a little bit more decisive, and there's another duel coming through.
Status resistance slow, Tiny still alive. The rest of his team's arriving, and now the Cogs trapping in. Tiny will fall. Trade for Legion will be there. Nightmare to slow the bat, cancel it out. The chase moves on forward. A double kill for Shadow Fiend.
Hashtag worse.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's okay. Lycan is pushing bottom lane though. A lot of pressure into that tier 2.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be the trades that you're looking towards, and both of us are lagging right now, I guess.
Blink Lasso onto the Lycan. Yeah, he's being dragged back. Shapeshift is there, but the Cogs trap him inside. The lag is killing the Lycan. He doesn't like it. The doggy is unhappy, but the Tinker arrives with the laser in. The rocket's being thrown out, but this Death Ward huge from the Witch Doctor to get themselves not 1 but 2 kills in quick succession.
Now Voodoo Restoration is starting to help out as well once that's maxed, and can rely on that to keep yourself alive a little bit longer in these team fights and throughout this March spam in particular. I also wouldn't be too surprised to see one of these heroes trying to invest into a pipe sooner rather than later, but Witch Doctor, of course, opting for a 4-star for himself first. Clockwork even going for a Yule Scepter, so a little bit less usual. It's going to be down to the Batrider.
Another sort of an additional catch mechanism for the Tinker. Cancel TPs, stop the Fiend's grip, catch the Lycan in Shapeshift. Yules is
all those Yules. Batrider as well.
Yeah, it's just a super good item in this game. It's just to cancel Tinker Rearm, to cancel Tinker TP, whatever it may be, once you've used all of your stuns. But both SF and Tiny are just delaying their BKBs at this point. Against the Tinker, it's super important not to rush BKB, or else, you know, late game against Hex, against Aghanims, against potential Dagon, you're just gonna lose, basically, from one good Tinker player. So buying all of these, you know, mid-game items before the BKB, and then once we get to, like, you know, 35 minutes or so, they'll have S and Y, AC, BKB, MKB. Maybe even look towards a heart or a butterfly for Tiny, while SF could go, you know, Manta Butter into BKB himself. All in all, Tinker and Lycan have managed to catch up towards this Tiny, and VGJ no longer have that lead that was looking also convincing a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah. Still looking to try and finish up that AC. Only a couple hundred gold away at this point. But, well, at some point this Lycan will fall off, and at that point Tinker has to carry more and more, it feels like. Unless the Legion Commander can really pick up the slack, right? We've seen his early couple of duels, but we're still stuck in this plus 40 duel damage, so ever since then hasn't really found a lot of success, even giving up over 14 damage to the Batrider. On the bright side, it's one of these heroes where you don't really mind too much anyway.
You just can't duel Tiny, honestly, I think is the play here for Legion. Status resistance is a serious problem, but also the fact that if you duel Tiny and he's cleaving through you onto the rest of your team with a tree grab, not going to work out. So last resort, duel Tiny, but any of the other heroes are big grabs for the Legion. With that Blade Mail up and running, but both squads will be looking for the next Roshan. 15 seconds until the potential respawn as Tiny clears out some Ancients, scouted by the Centaur. Helm of the Dominator. Dota underscore tooltip underscore modifier underscore newt dot dot dot.
Okay.
Not broken at all.
We're still in beta. It's all good.
Lag, go away.
Well, they're all smoked up, looking to try and help out their shadow friends down bottom. And perhaps get the tower. And right now, Radiant's not in a position to do a trade or defense here of this. So even though they shouldn't really lose any heroes, they will certainly lose the tier 2 tower.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I guess, yes. AC also completed now the Tiny. Has it in his inventory to make that a little bit easier. But they'll have to respond to top. Tinker pushing in the scrape wave. Can't go for anything else here in this bottom lane at the very least. Roshan also respawning in 10 seconds. Probably something worth thinking about.
Well, they see the Lycan though. And now he's around. Oh, Clockwork. The wolves. He's going to see one of them show itself to the Ancient creep there as the Legion eyeing up this Blink duel. The nighttime comes as darkness is popped, but Clockwork gets enough of a gap. But he's safe behind his tier 2.
Again, in this game you don't just have the Night Stalker vision, you also have the Invisible scouting around. Right now there's no gem yet on the side of Thunder to try and counteract that a little bit. So as a result, it's still enough information gained that they feel safe going for this Roshan. Tinker sitting on the outside, spending quite a few spells, throwing in lasers and whatever he can towards the Roshan, while not being vulnerable himself. Good shot. Will actually connect though. Legion Commander caught in the middle of that nightmare, but it's only the Clockwork right now. Yultzapter will delay things a little bit further, but the rest of the team trickling in more than anything else. Field throw will ensure that the Goblin will fall, and where's the follow-up here? Legion ready to come in. Duel on top of the lasso. We'll cancel that out immediately. Now Tiny. Couple of right clicks here and there. Death Ward will zone him away, but it's not actually hitting on anybody. It's a bit of a disaster here engaging in a staggered fashion like that. Now they might get caught once again. Cask slowing them down as much as they can. Bouncing between the heroes. Another avalanche. That will be the end of that, but Thunder giving up quite a bit here in this engagement.
Yeah, I mean, Aegis going onto the Tinker. He's blinking away with no mana. It looked like a good initiation from Clockwork. They're catching 2 inside the cogs, but they're just filtered in one by one, not able to get any real damage source in because they don't have Blink on SF or Blink on Tiny. They are relatively slow entering fights. So it ended up being this high ground hold by the Radiant as the Dire just decided they're going to back away. It's a huge kill streak from the Bat taken away by Legion. Clockwork falling as well. But now you're looking at a Lycan with Pipe. There's Aegis Tinker TPing and TPing and TPing onto the catapult.
I hear that sound and I'm trying to fix it, but
TPing.
yeah.
Oh, Night Stalker has found Tiny. Tiny's found Night Stalker. The Lycan trapped inside the cogs. The Yule Scepter and the Clockwork is there as the Bat Rider arrives. If he gets a Blink Lasso onto someone big, but no, the Force Staff. Tinker saved the Lycan. They'll try and chase him forward, but the lag is coming through and VGJ don't stand a chance. The packets are dropping. They've got no way to fight. They will lose their Bat. Their Clockwork falls. Now the Legion sprinting away. The double kill for her is secured as Newbee.M win a huge team fight up on top of that Dire ramp.
Oh, Dota, what is happening?
I can cast anything, by the way.
Yeah, it's very clear from this fight. At least it's something to go on, unlike last time where it just completely stopped. You just imagined everything that happened just as the game ended. But yeah, it's a perfect world service. Not a whole lot we can do about that, but try and put up with it. Which makes it very hard, especially if you continue to look at the Tinker when he's TPing. Because I have your sound.
Yeah.
Completely at your mercy in that regard.
At least it stopped now.
Yeah.
The catapult died, right? There's no more annoying TP noise. Tiny. Time to start thinking about a Shadow Blade or a Blink Dagger. 2290. Come on. I mean, maybe he just goes straight into BK. Honestly, now it's super hard to decide what kind of item you want, because Tiny often finds himself behind an item behind where he wants to be to win the game. So now he needs Blink and BKB, or he needs BKB, MKB, while the rest of his team have to try and pick up the slack. Jump forward onto Witch Doctor. Night Stalker, with the help of Tinker, find the kill. Laser and Rocket spam now in onto Sylar as they move forward, aggressively hunting the Tiny inside the enemy base. And they look like they might be able to get this kill. Diving in deep, the Batrider will get the lasso onto the Night Stalker, dragging him in behind these tier 4s with another touch. They should be able to find the kill. He burns to death as he falls, but Shadow Fiend in the meantime, up on the front lines, has taken a tumble to Lycan and Legion. As the tier 3 will get shredded, and it looks like Newbee.M might be evening up this series.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that works out, but you lose a Witch Doctor, it cascades into more, and with the Lycan on your team, you have a very easy time turning that into objectives. Buybacks are available for both of these cores, Shadow Fiend as well as a Tiny bit. They're not throwing them out just yet, and I guess they cannot really lose. They cannot lose the bottom racks because there's still tier 2 there, but they lose the range racks mid, and they opted to go for tier 4 rather than top range racks now. Roger coming through Lycan, but there's no real follow-up. Nightmare now onto the Batrider, but meanwhile Tinker just continues to spam lasers, to spam rockets, and sending them all the way back to the fountain because of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And now the Tiny has no money. No money after that buyback. Very, very unfortunate. And they still have the Aegis on Tinker, right? For how long? 16 seconds? Oh, they've caught one. Batrider Nightmare blinks away. Not sure how that happens, but... Oh, Yule's into blink.
Wolf.
That's how it happens. Nightmare taken by a wolf, apparently, in the middle of all of that.
Well, all of the Tinker marches in one single line here on my screen.
I don't
Pretty
see
sure
that.
it's... don't see them at all. It's like, oh my god.
Perfect.
It's getting worse and worse, yeah.
Perfect lag.
The irony is not lost on us.
Now, it looks like Newbee.M in a very, very good spot, though. All they need to do is catch the Tiny, kill the Tiny. They are setting up to try and blink in on him. Duel, Fiend's Grip, Crippling Fear already, and there we go. Blink Duel with the Blade Mail BKB. They've gone on the Batrider, though. Something's... Oh, no, they got lasso onto the Legion. That's what happened. They dueled the Tiny, lassoed the Legion, drag him back. Some weird animations happening as Tinker is down on the low ground to the Flame Break. Witch Doctor being chased by Night Stalker, but Newbee.M will realize that there is nothing here to be gained anymore. And with Aghanims on the Tinker, along with the Blink and Force Staff, they'll set up camp to try and take tier 2 bottom.
That's all we really need. Get the tier 2, just find success with one of these initiations. Make sure that the Lycan's front lines just running people down and the Tinker's safe in the back. And Thunder, they certainly have to try and take matters into their own hand. What the hell happened there?
Everyone's dying. I don't know.
Well, Clockwork way too far forward together with the Tinies.
This game
gonna lose
over.
their lives. Right? To me, that's a duel. Status resistance will make sure that it's not actually a victory, but Tiny will still end up dropping. Maybe not. There it is. Finally coming through. Shadow Fiend has to take over the burn, but Tinker straight back into it with lassos trying to slow him down. Lasers and rockets still bouncing through. DG is called.
1-1. We're going to a game 3, and I can't wait for more of this lag. Oh, baby.
Well, maybe it'll be better in game number 3 as it stands. We're through with this game, and well, another series, another game 3. Both of these teams certainly want to punch their ticket to Genting.
We do what we can. But yeah, VGJ looked like they were in the driving seat for the majority of that game, and it's just a couple of team fights here and there. Without the items they needed, Shadow Fiend getting picked off a lot early on meant that they fell behind the Lycan and the Tinker. But we're going to a game number 3 to decide, like you said, who goes to ESL One Genting. Back in a couple of minutes, guys. We'll finish off this series.